Give a man an Atari game and he'll turn into a little boy. But don't worry, he'll be grown up enough to share it.
Have you played Atari today?
Due to the products we carry that enable and enhance our customers' experience in working from home, we believe Gamestop is classified as essential retail and therefore is able to remain open during this time. This is a memo that was sent to GameStop staff this afternoon. It was obtained by Kotaku, and so GameStop is saying, screw you, authorities. You may have decided that businesses need to be closed, but we are staying open. We have received reports of local authorities visiting stores in an attempt to enforce closure despite our classification. Store managers are approved to provide the document linked below to law enforcement as needed. So, okay, here are the specific actions taken by GameStop in order to say that they are above any bans on businesses being open due to the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, so here's what GameStop says that they're doing. They're instituting multiple social distancing practices in their stores, such as only allowing 10 customers in their stores at any given time. Now, I don't know about other GameStops, but the GameStops that are near me tend to be very, very small. And 10 customers in the store at any time means that those customers are going to be in very, very close proximity to each other, not anywhere near the 6 feet that you're supposed to have between you. So, all right, the 10 customers, I don't think that that's good enough. Here's the second thing they've said. Following CDC recommended guidelines to adopt an in-store line management practice that creates a 6-foot parameter between customers and checkout lines. Now, earlier today, I saw somebody tweet out little stickers that were put down on the floor at either like a Walmart or a Target or some kind of big box store like that had like a sticker on the floor that had 2 feet, and then 6 feet away it had a sticker on the floor that had a space where you could stand. And basically that was how they were going to spread people out. Again, when you're talking about a store as small as GameStop, I mean, when you go into a GameStop now, it's pretty tough to go between more than one person in and I'm using giant air quotes here, aisle. All right, more than one person in an aisle. You're practically, you have to make that decision as you pass by that person. Do you give them the crotch or the butt as you pass? So this idea that there's somehow a 6-foot parameter between customers and checkout lines, that's insanity to me. I don't believe it. All right, here's what else they say. They say reducing our store hours of operation from 12 to 8 p.m., which will be in place beginning until March 29th. Rolling out delivery at door service to allow customers to pick up their purchases at the front door of U.S. store locations. Now, that makes sense to me. All right, you go wait in your damn car. Give us your phone number, wait in your car. When it's your turn to buy whatever the thing that it is that you want to buy, we'll call you. You walk up to the door, we'll hand it to you, and then get out of here and don't infect people. And by the way, before you go to GameStop to pick up a game, I know Doom is coming out on Friday. Some people have bought it earlier. Animal Crossing is coming out on Friday. Some people are getting that earlier. And I know that people want to go to the stores and pick these things up. Wash your hands first, all right? It doesn't take that long. It's really, really easy. All right. Suspending temporarily our video game and customer electronic trade-in practices until Sunday, March 29th. This is very important because those things are not getting cleaned. When you go to the store and you buy a game from GameStop that is used, that thing is dirty. There's no way it's not dirty. That thing is gross. Moving on. Postponing all gaming events and midnight launch activities until further notice. Great job. I believe that's a good move. Disabling temporarily all interactive gaming stations in our stores. Okay, sweet Christmas. That should happen everywhere, not just GameStop and not just during this pandemic, but also at every retailer everywhere forever. Yes, I understand people want to go in and play the video games and see what they're like, but those things are disgusting. I personally have a lot of fond memories playing the Super Nintendo at our local department store until the person who was at the electronics counter would give us the stink eye and tell us to get out of there because we've been in there playing Super Mario Brothers on the Super Nintendo for 2 hours, that first level over and over and over again. Kids are gross. And people go into these stores and then they touch the control. Just don't do it. And even if they turn them back on, just don't use them. That's gross. Anyway, encouraging customers to leverage our online e-commerce capabilities and direct deliveries to their homes from our warehouses or stores. Again, all of that sounds great. But the idea that they can just decide that they are, how do they phrase it, essential retail? That is not essential retail. I like video games just as much as the next person. In fact, I would venture to guess that I like video games more than the next person. And I do not consider a video game shop essential retail. Now, I do understand why they're doing this. I mean, GameStop, even before the idea of closing down stores, even before that happened, they are on shaky ground. They have been hemorrhaging money for a very, very long time. So for them to close at this point would mean that maybe they would never open again. And I can understand that while I think GameStop is being ridiculous by saying that they are essential retail, there is a part of me that thinks maybe they're doing this because they're trying to save the jobs of the employees who work there. And as much as I like to trash on GameStop, the people that work at GameStop are fantastic. The people that work there are awesome. I have had absolutely zero bad interactions with somebody at GameStop outside of the things that the corporate makes them do by trying to upsell me on ridiculous things that nobody should pay for. I don't like GameStop's business practices, but I like the people who work at my local GameStop. And I've had very good experiences with those people. So I really hope that they still have a job after this. And as shaky as the ground is that GameStop is on at this point right now, for them to close might mean that they never open again. So I can understand that GameStop wants to protect its investments. They want to protect their employees from losing their jobs. I think that I don't know, just going up against the law and saying, actually, you know what, we're essential. Does it work that way? Because I don't think that it does. I think somebody else has to tell you that you're essential. Essential is like firefighters and police officers and medical workers. Those kind, and if I didn't mention something, it's not because I didn't think of you. It's because I only wanted to list 3 things. All good things come in threes. All right. Those kind of things are essential. Grocery stores are essential. Pharmacies are essential. Now I'm listing more than 3 things. There's a lot of essential things in video games, as much as I love them. They're not one of them. All right, before we get out of here, DirectX. Okay, before we get out of here. All right, before we finish up here, DirectX 12 is Microsoft's attempt at unifying the next-gen graphics on PC and console. This is why the Xbox is called the Xbox, because of DirectX. If you don't know what Direct is, it's basically Microsoft's API for game programming, and it's one of the reasons why the Xbox was able to catch on pretty well. Now, I have to say, I'm not an engineer, and I'm saying all of this stuff from memory, but as I recall, when the original Xbox came out, Microsoft claimed that porting games to Xbox was going to be relatively easy from the PC because it had that DirectX. And DirectX has constantly been updated over the years, and now we're at DirectX 12 Ultimate. I love it when is this 1990? This has an X in it. It's a capital X. It's Ultimate. All we need are some Doritos and some Mountain Dew, and then we're going to be all set. All right, here are the comments from Microsoft. It says, prior to DirectX 12 Ultimate, there was a limited overlap between these two cycles. Even when hardware was similar, the software interfaces were quite dissimilar, discouraging aligned adoption by developers. Translation, yeah, even though the hardware in an Xbox One X is very, very similar to the hardware in a regular PC, the software in developing for these two things was different enough that usually they ended up splitting this into two teams to do things like that. Now I'm going to go back to their quotes. By unifying the graphics platform across PC and Xbox Series X, DirectX 12 Ultimate serves as a force multiplier. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to throw an echo on this. Force multiplier for the entire gaming ecosystem. No longer do the cycles operate independently. Instead, they now combine synergistically. Oh my God. Listen to the things that they're saying here. It's just hilarious. When Xbox Series X releases, there will already be millions of DirectX 12 Ultimate PC graphics cards in the world, and with the same feature set, catalyzing a rapid adoption of new features. And when Xbox Series X brings a wave of new console gamers, PC will likewise benefit from the vast surge of new DirectX 12 Ultimate capable hardware. All right, what does all this mean? Basically, he's saying, well, I'm assuming it doesn't say if it was a he or a she. It just says explained by Microsoft. Basically, what they're saying is, look, when the Series X comes out, people who make games are already going to be used to making games that use DirectX 12 because there's going to be a lot of graphics cards out there that support DirectX 12. That means it's going to be easy for game developers to bring their games to Xbox Series X. And then after Xbox Series X comes out, it's going to be easy to take games that are made with the console in mind and port them to the PC because of all of that DirectX stuff. This isn't anything new that we didn't know or that hasn't already happened in the past. However, it's nice to see that marriage between PC and Xbox is still happening. Here's what's new in DirectX. DirectX ray tracing. All right, that's also included in this. So GPU work creation now allows ray tracing. This enables shaders on the GPU to invoke ray tracing without an intervening round trip back to the CPU. So that means that if you're playing a game that needs ray tracing, it's not going to be as taxing on your CPU, which usually what happens is the GPU is doing all the graphics processing and it says, oh, here's some ray tracing stuff. Let me send this to the CPU. The CPU gets that information, does all the calculations, and sends that stuff back to the GPU so that it can draw it. So this kind of slows things down. This ability is useful for adaptive ray tracing scenarios like shader-based culling, sorting, and classification refinement. Basically, scenarios that prepare ray tracing work on the GPU and then immediately do it rather than sending it to the CPU and back. That back and forth takes time and slows everything down. Streaming engines can more efficiently load new ray tracing shaders as needed when the player moves around the world and new objects become visible. Again, this is just says that the ray tracing is happening faster. Ray tracing is the new, the new hotness, the new cheese that everybody's talking about. So the combination of the ray tracing and the DX12 being on graphics cards and being in the Xbox is going to make the job of developers easier. And that's probably why we're hearing about this now. This is probably information that was going to come out at GDC anyway, which is why we got a lot of technobabble in this press release. Anyway, thank you for listening. I will see you next time.
It's Bart versus the Space Mutants for your NES. Only Bart Simpson can save the Earth.